So let's talk about our emotions because our emotions are something that really connect us. They connect us to our internal world, to our heart, how we're doing, but it's so difficult to feel our emotions. And typically, what happens when you feel upset or you're triggered is we want to share those emotions. And the people that we share our emotions with, our friends or maybe our partner, we usually end up triggering them. And now they're yelling at us and upset because we remind them of somebody that triggered them. And now we're having to heal them because their trauma and pain is more than our emotion. And then we kind of forget about all of our pain, or maybe we still are in pain, but now we have to make it okay and still not take care of ourselves, still taking care of the other person. And so we end up still in this pattern, in this cycle of repeating it again and again and again. And so really the energy works method in sessions is really to identify where our energy is stored and stuck. And a lot of times, even when I'm looking at people, it could have been a picture of I'm not special enough or I'm lonely. And this could have been a picture that developed when they were 5, maybe in their family unit where they were talked over, no one listened to them, or they couldn't communicate. And somehow at that age, we take on these beliefs. And in taking that on, then now, even 40 years later, we're still playing it out where somehow in that family dynamic, we're separated, we're divided, we're not being supported. Even our friends or partners aren't supporting us. And the one thing that we need to really reconcile is how do we support ourselves? There's aspects of ourselves, especially the emotional ones, where if we're feeling something, where we hop out of our space because that's where we want to call someone. But if we can just start a communication, start to connect our heart to this aspect of ourself, even that little 5-year-old or that fear, and start to communicate to it and say, hey, no, I feel you. I feel you. I'm here with you. And in communicating with it, you start to ask it questions. Because if you ask it questions, then you have an understanding of why you do the things that you do. Because most of the things that we do are in reaction. They're in reaction to these feelings, and we're reacting and responding. And some of it we're just unaware of. And if we don't update kind of our insight and update what it is that we need to do and how it is that we need to take care of ourselves, then we feel the victim. We feel isolated and alone. And it never changes. But to change anything, you have to be seen in a new way. And that is what we do together in session. We actually see even this aspect of you where most of your energy is contained, stored, and stuck. We start to, energy work is accessing that and starting to move that energy. When you move energy through the heart, it changes it, it transforms it. And you need a person to see you accurately, because the truth is that you're not alone. But you've probably been in an environment where people were so disconnected, maybe not in their space, they were disassociated. So the people may have been present, but they really energetically weren't there. Their energy was abandoned. They abandoned their space, they abandoned you. But in truth, when you connect your energy to God, when you connect your energy to the planet, you start to then experience what it really feels like to be in your space, to occupy space. You start to know then and reflect who you truly are, that you truly are a star and you're unified with all things. And within that, then, we can accurately start to see ourselves. And this is where we start to create pictures together. And by doing that, these pictures start to come alive, because in so many times working with clients, they have these things and patterns that happen again and again and again. And we start putting new pictures there. And now that becomes their reality, because you need somebody shining the light on you of truth. When that light is shined, it activates, because that is who you are. But if you've never had anyone see you that way or communicate to you, and you know, because everyone's had the experience of where you want communication, but somehow people will ignore you. They won't say anything and dismiss you. And that dismissal means you don't exist and you feel like you don't exist. But that's not the truth. That is kind of an energy that wants to perpetuate where you don't exist, so they exist. There is a matching energy there and an opposing energy there that is very important to get out of. When you start to really open to the wisdom of your heart, now you start to bring in people that can see you, acknowledge you, support you, because you are actually learning how to connect to your heart, supporting yourself in that communication. When you start to ask yourself questions about where are you stuck, where is the energy stored, where, do you keep rejecting people or keep yourself isolated? Really, the external world is that feedback loop, and it will start to reflect how you're doing that in your life. So we can then begin to have a relationship with this internal world. It's like if you think about the universal language, which is music, when you're connected to a song, it is because it's communicated something to you. Like, they get me in that song. That's how I exactly feel. You feel the vulnerability, you feel the connection. And so when we're vulnerable, when we're open with our feelings, when we can allow ourselves to have our feelings and support ourselves, this is showing other people how they can be too. It's just like a song, sharing the vulnerability and the feelings. But when we communicate this, somehow we get triggered, other people get triggered because we're dumping it in somebody's space because we can't handle it and we're kind of hot potatoing it somewhere else. But if we can really just be vulnerable with ourselves like a song and share it, and then comfort ourselves and feel it and start to get to know ourselves and acknowledge it so we heal it, that is what is going to really transform you into the whole you. So book a session at Bellisimo.com and press the subscribe button and join me for the Energy Works method.